All right, so hopefully this is the last part. Hitler ended it on, again, May 10th, 1941. This is about a year after it started. So, for a full year of these people's lives, they were used to running to bomb shelters, fallout shelters, and uh, being attacked at a moment's notice. Okay, now this is important because up to this point, it seemed like the German military, whether it was their tanks, their planes, was invincible. This is the first time that Hitler and the Nazis and the Germans were stopped. So this is why this is significant, because the Nazis, it proves that now they can be beaten. So the United States during this time is neutral. They follow an isolationist policy. However, they do start to aid Britain mostly. Franklin Roosevelt knew that the U.S. needed to help the Allies avoid being dragged into a war, right? So the whole point, hey, we're going to help them out. We're going to supply them. We want to stay out of it still. Right? We don't want to have our people, our soldiers, young men dying. So they start in 1939. It's called the Cash and Carry Program. This allowed warring nations to buy weapons as long as they paid cash and transported it on their own. So didn't use U.S. ships to transport it, and you need cash. Again, we did trade with Germany for a bit, but ultimately England had the larger navy, and we traded mostly with them. Later on, they used what's called the Lend-Lease program. This means that the U.S. would lend arms and other supplies, again, to England and to other allies, but it would be like on a loan, so it would have to be paid back at some point. So, again, more supplies were now being given to the allies with the Lend-Lease Act. Okay, here's an example of a plane being built during World War II. Okay, some tanks being shipped over. All right, now Hitler tried to prevent the Lend-Lease aid by sending German U-boats, that's underground or underwater boats, to attack these ships. So in the same thing like World War I, they attack without warning, unrestricted submarine warfare, except they're much more advanced submarines now. All right, they're known as wolf packs, and they will sink convoy ships at a moment's notice. Thing is so many convoys are being sent over that they cannot attack or find or sink every single one. All right, and this is what's considered the Battle of the Atlantic. So ultimately, the Allies are successful. Britain gets supplied. There is quite a substantial loss. A lot of ships, a lot of sailors were lost during this time. In the last section, Atlantic Charter. So Atlantic Charter is a joint statement of war aims between FDR and Churchill. Again, the U.S. is technically not in the war yet, but we are very much allied with Great Britain. Called for collective security, disarmament, self-determination, economic cooperation, and freedom of seas. So, again, U.S. is trying to stay out of the conflict, but is very determined for Britain to have self-determination and freedom of the seas. So we are on the side of Great Britain.